You are watching ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20 edition. We're building up to an even-Steven game. I say that because these are two teams that are at the bottom of the pile in the IPL, having played 3 games and not a single win to show. However, the good news there is that, of course, one team will get their first point this season. I'm Nikhil Naz, with me Ajit Agarkar, Brad Hodge. The latest news that we've got from the Sawai Man Singh Stadium in Jaipur is that Rajasthan Royals have won the toss. They've decided to bowl, but then Virat Kohli came out and said that he would have batted first anyway. Ajit, we'll start with you. Do you think that comment by Virat Kohli has a lot to do with what happened last game? They were chasing and just couldn't make a match of it.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like at the moment they're not sure what they want to do first. Bat or bowl first. Didn't go well when they bowled first, although they didn't pick a great 11. The bowling attack wasn't potent enough to stop Bairstow and Warner. And then the batting sort of crumbled, chasing 230. So sometimes it's a good thing to lose the toss and just get on with that. Usually, Rahane said, looks a bit dry and maybe the dew might come in.
Yep.
I can't imagine it being too bad a pitch. So for Virat Kohli, didn't have to make the decision, so might be a good thing.
Ajinkya Rahane is on a roll as far as tosses are concerned. If I'm not mistaken, this is his 4th win in a row this IPL as far as winning his tosses is concerned. But unfortunately, that hasn't turned into winning a game for his team just yet. Brad, we'll quickly have a look at the playing 11. Before that comes on, Stoinis is coming back. Bangalore couldn't have been happier having him back.
Yeah, huge inclusion. One of the things which has been really good has been Marcus Stoinis' form over the last sort of year. And particularly in T20 with playing well in Big Bash for the Melbourne Stars. And he's come off of some good series with Australia, so his confidence will be high. Also gives him a lot of flexibility, I think, as well. I mean, if you look at him as a matchup between Collins and Granholm, I think that his bowling is well ahead of Collins' bowling.
Yeah.
So that'll strengthen their bowling unit, which has been an issue for them. And also some power hitting as well. So, that'll give, I think, Virat and also AB some confidence as well to know that Marcus Stoinis is in good touch and will definitely help them for sure.
We'll take a look at the Bangalore playing 11. 3 changes is what they've made to their team so far. Akashdeep Nath is coming in instead of Dubey, and then you've got Saini coming back because traditionally this pitch has been very helpful for fast bowlers. And then Stoinis, as we were talking about, also gets back into the team instead of Colin de Granholm. Also, in terms of how Bangalore were looking at Stoinis, Ajit, of course, being really, really strong for the team. Also, Colin de Granholm wasn't really in the form that you expected him. So it was an easy change for them.
Yeah, Stoinis will give a lot more with the ball than the Grandam we saw. Akshdeep Nath, I think they've almost been forced to, maybe a little bit unfortunate, Shivam Dubey not having had enough opportunities. But when you're losing games, you almost feel like sometimes a change might help. I'm not quite sure whether that would be the case. Where he'll bat, I'm not sure either. Parthiv Patel, that's the thing. Again, we keep talking about Parthiv. If he plays, looks like he'll open. RCB have got some issues. So hopefully that big players stand up today. Likes of Hetmeyer, Virat Kohli himself and AB de Villiers. I think if those guys play well, just give the others a lift. But not under the circumstances, Coulter Niles, I think, not available tonight as well. That would have been a big plus to have, but you can't do anything about it. But they need Virat Kohli and AB to play well.
Where would you bat him? Just taking that point that Ajit makes, where would you back Stoinis? Right on top as an opener? Because we've seen him, really open the inning and do rather well in the Big Bash League, but Australia really doesn't open with him in the T20.
Yeah, I would open him, actually. If you look at that batting lineup, there's quite a bit of depth, and with Stoinis at 7, I just feel that, again, Parthiv Patel's issue there is really a bit of a problem for them. It gives them batting depth deep, and that'll give Virat and AB a chance. But you really have to maximise your power play at Jaipur. It's such a good surface. It slows down a little bit. There might be some turn in the middle. It's going to be a good pitch for sure. But for me, I still think their bowling is a fraction vulnerable. With some, you mentioned the toss that it might turn. So look, I would have been inclined to bring in Washington Sundar, actually Nath to take the gloves. And for me, there's a little bit more power involved there with flexibility in your bowling unit.
Interesting point. One, as he says, maybe bring in Washington Sundar. The other is you had the all-rounder as well, do rather well for them. Earlier we saw, the left arm spinner Negi that they had, also a batsman. Could that have been an option? Because we've seen in T20, usually you tend to go with at least 6 to 7 bowling options.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those venues which is, the grounds, it's a big ground. So the spinners do play a part in, even though the pitch doesn't really spin as much. But yeah, Negi maybe, but
Washington Sundar.
Yeah, I had picked him in my 11 yesterday. He's played before. He can bowl with the new ball as well. Gives you another option. I think it was worth exploring. I think he's obviously played the 3 Indian quicks. And with Stoinis coming back, that gives you an all-round option. So he had that flexibility to maybe get Washington Sundar in. He's gone for that extra batsman in Akshdeep Nath. We'll have to wait and see whether that actually works.
Though they've made that one change, which is Stoinis, we don't know why Coulter Nile is not available at the moment. That's what we're getting to hear. But that's that one change that they desperately needed, because it's that death bowling which has been a problem with RCB.
Well, they still haven't really bolstered that. I wouldn't think that Marcus Stoinis is an outstanding death over bowler. I mean, he's capable, but he's not a banker. So still, they've brought Saini back, who I think was unlucky in the couple of games that he's played. But if you look at their numbers of death, it's still up around 11s or 12s. So I mean, maybe they might have looked at Tim Southee as well. But look, they're trying to get the right combination. And when you're struggling for form, you don't want to make household changes. You want to try and make your team better. I feel a little bit for Dubé as well. I mean, limited opportunities.
Yeah.
Comes in. I would have liked to see him play on this particular good wicket, given an opportunity to play on this wicket.
The reason Saini is there and not Washington Sundar could be on the fact, I'm just looking at the comparison between the fast bowlers and spinners. Traditionally, fast bowlers seem to have done well. Have they gone more with how the pitch has behaved over the years, or rather than look at the pitch right now?
You're looking at what? Akshdeep Nath and Parthiv Patel both playing in that 11. I mean, yeah, okay, there's Moeen Ali who does obviously do the bowling for them, but with Stoinis coming in, and Washington Sundar can bat. So it's not as if so they don't lose anything with the bat, maybe lower down the order. It's just another option, bowling option, which might make a difference. Again, like Haji said, it's sometimes very difficult when you've gone through a little bit of a losing phase to try and they're still struggling to find the best 11. I think Coulter Nile certainly would have played if he was here, possibly for Hetmeyer or Moeen Ali, one of them. But whether they really miss Washington Sundar, maybe not, but I would have liked to see it.
Okay, 2 changes for Rajasthan Royals as well. We'll take a look at that. Unadkat is out, Varun Aaron comes in his place, and then Sanju Samsung has not been dropped, he's injured is what Rahane said at the toss, and Stuart Binney comes in his place. Ajit, we'll start with Stuart Binney. I'm afraid I can't say it's a like-to-like replacement at the moment.
No, but again, I don't think he's going to bat at number 4. Highly unlikely, I think.
Not ahead of Ben Stokes, definitely, or Tripathi.
From what we saw the other night from Jofra Archer, I hope they float him at some stage, maybe, just to create that impact in the middle of the innings. If need be, again, depends on the situation, but Stokes will need to take more responsibility with the bat. Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate things. You can't help injuries. It's such a long tournament, you'll have those. Varun Aaron, you can understand. Sometimes it's best to take someone who's already under so much pressure and not in great form, Unadkat, just out of the limelight, just give him a game or 2 off, and might help his cause going forward. So Varun Aaron also will provide a bit of extra pace. Hopefully it goes well for them.
We were looking at that batting order. Rahul Tripathi at number 5 at the moment. We don't know whether it'll be 5, 6, wherever he bats. If, as we were saying, Jofra Archer does float in and come ahead of him. But would you be tempted to open with Tripathi? I remember his season he played for Pune was outstanding, and Ajinkya really at that top could have been pushed down. What do you reckon?
Look, I think Ajinkya has actually done quite well so far this tournament.
He's got the runs,
I mean, that everyone's criticised his strike rates and so forth leading into the tournament. I think he's lifted that. I think he's improved. So I like the way that's gone about things. For me, Tripathi just hasn't quite grasped batting down the order. So we saw that last night with Vihari. I mean, you can be exposed when you are a top order player. Come in and chase in 10s and 12s, it's difficult. But for me, I think Rajasthan really need to get their match winners into the game. I don't think they've got time to keep the likes of Smith and Stokes out of the game. I'd just go top heavy, get your best 4 batters into the game. That's Rahane, Butler, Smith and Stokes, and go all in. Put your chips in and go, okay. So one of you guys needs to step up. As simple as that.
Benny sort of gives them a little bit of a bowling option. Sometimes he's opened the bowling for them because he swings the ball a little bit. I'm not sure that'll happen tonight, but if he's saying it's a little bit of a slow track, those overs can come handy. And I think he'll bat lower down the order.
And he's
whether it's at
actually
6 or 7.
actually got an amazing record of picking a wicket up in the first over. I mean, he did.
True.
As you know, if you move the ball, you're dangerous.
Yes,
If you don't,
yeah.
you're fodder.
He of course has one of the finest bowling figures in the one-day international for India. Of course, the conditions
Best
are
bowling
really-
figures,
Yeah,
I
best exactly. As long as the ball is swinging and he gets those wickets for sure. But I'm just staying with Varun Aaron. You mentioned sometimes it really helps if, for example, Unadkat not really having a great time, you rest him. But I'm going to talk about Varun Aaron. Also, does it help coming back after this long break? At one time, he was touted as this quick bowler, but has been off the scene a bit. Does it help?
I don't know how long a break it has been because I'm sure he's played in the domestic T20 competition.
Yes, he
so
did.
it
I'm
won't
just
have
saying
been-
in the limelight, he hasn't been there for a long
Yeah,
time.
but
not in
he'll
the
be
IPL.
fresher and he thrives on pace. I think he's one of those guys who doesn't really do a lot with the ball.
Just out
but
and out
is-
pace.
Yeah, so hopefully he's fresh and he can get it right because again we'll have to wait and see what kind of form he's in. But I think it was almost a given that they were going to leave Unadkat out. I don't think Ajinkya Rahane has shown enough faith in him. Has brought him after 11, 12, 13 over in the
previous
previous
game.
few games, and it's a tough place to bowl for a bowler, especially when someone who's down on confidence against some really good batters. And got stuck, bowling to MS Dhoni in that last over with a wet ball, which was never going to be easy. So, it was a necessary change, I think, with the kind of form Unadkat is showing at the moment.
Okay, the big talking point right now is that Stoinis is into the team as far as Royal Challenge Bangalore are concerned. This is our first poll question of the day as well. We'd like you to vote in. Should Stoinis be opening the batting? Press the heart for yes and then the other emoji for no. This is a question I threw to Brad as well. To you, would you open with him? Because he's had limited success playing for BBL, he did, but not so much internationally.
No, I think when you have a Butler and Ajinkya, like Brad said, Ajinkya's... Oh, sorry, talking about Bangalore.
Yeah.
That time of the IPL.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
No,
I have to
again,
keep my notes
again,
to remember.
Yeah, again, it's the Parthiv Patel question. Will you be then able to bat Parthiv Patel somewhere else? They might well open with Stoinis and then drop Hetmeyer down, who opened in the previous game. I hope not. I hope they give Hetmeyer another opportunity at the top. Because this will be a better wicket to bat on. He got caught the other day against Nabi. It's one of those things. They still need some firepower down the order. Bangalore, RCB. So you'd rather have him 5 or so. I wouldn't open with him.
Okay.
At some stage, they'll have to make a decision about whether Parthiv Patel is going to open for them rest of the season, or then they go up. Just have their best batters. Batting 1, 2, 3, 4.
I've been talking about Marcus Stoinis and how well he's done as an opener in the BBL, and this is his record, is how he's performed in the 10 innings that he's played, almost 500 runs and an outstanding average of 62, and that strike rate also is rather good at 130. The question there is, one thing, Brad, is to not have Parthiv Patel, and then the jigsaw puzzle is rather easy for them to solve. The other thing is, could you look at an option, as Ajit is saying, he wouldn't open because he would want some firepower. Could Moeen Ali be that guy to give them firepower down there and go with Stoinis as well?
Look, I think what they need to do is go back to the recipe of what made him successful a few years ago, and that was having Gale, Colley and AB. 1, 2, 3. So for me, again, simple formula, a little bit like Rajasthan, get your best players into the game. So who are they? In this particular
Virat
instance,
Kohli.
I think it's Virat. Opens with Hetmeyer. I agree with Aj to give him a chance. This guy's a gun player. AB at 3. And then have back end it with Moeen and Stoinis. That gives you some firepower. Put Parthiv at 8. That's fine. Just get him to kick gloves. There's enough flexibility in that batting lineup. You don't want to take balls away from match winners when you've got plenty there. If you look at that lineup, they've got plenty of match winners there. They have to get him into the game. It's now time for them to step up.
Interesting that you still would repose faith in Hetmeyer. We'll take a look at Marcus Stoinis and how he's done in T20 cricket in different batting positions. We showed you in BBL as an opener, he's been very, very good. And you look at that average as an opener in 13 innings is the best that he's achieved so far. Number 4 and number 5 and number 6. This is just since 2018. been his position-wise batting. We'll take a look at how he's done in the IPL as well and how his performances over the years changed as far as his batting position is concerned. He had the opportunity to play for Kings 11 Punjab, and there you have a look at that. It's opening again where he's very good. Number 6 and 5 innings, so that's a decent amount there as far as the sample size is concerned. He's got average of 59. That gets really tough, Ajit, because he's doing well at number 6, bringing you the runs there as well as an opener in the previous one.
More look at the strike rate at that number. I don't think you'll worry about the average. Against not a lot of games, still very new to the IPL if you look at the numbers.
Yeah, the sample size isn't huge.
So I agree with him. I mean that'd be the best way to go. Just put your best 5 batters up front, even though you know that if they lose those 5 and maybe Parthiv Patel and Akshdeep Nath are not the ideal 6 and 7, but you'd rather show, your best bet is if these 4 or 5 guys strike big. And Stoinis, I mean, his numbers in BBL might be good, but these are different conditions.
Yeah, it's different.
You say top 5 should go first. Is Hetmeyer in your top 5?
Yeah, I mean, I said he should open because,
Hmm.
I mean, one innings is not enough to judge someone whether he can do that job or not.
Okay, we'll turn our attention to the next talking point, and that is Ish Sodhi. He's of course not playing. There was plenty of talk, should he be drafted in to the team, but he hasn't, and that's because his performance has been rather good, especially in the middle overs is where they tend to be leaking a lot of runs, but we're showing you in the middle overs, as I mentioned, 7 to 15 in IPL, and this is where Rajasthan leak a lot of runs. You look at that economy, it's the highest, tied with Delhi, and that's where their problem area lies, and which is why we're talking about Ish Sodhi, because that's actually an area where he excels a lot in the middle overs and shows that not too many runs are given, also has a knack of picking up wickets. Okay, so have they missed a trick? Brad, I'll start with you.
Look, I would have picked him if everyone was fit. So with Sanju Samson out, they can't afford not to have Steve Smith in there at the number 3 or 4. So it's more of a balance now. I think if Sanju was fit and scoring runs, then you probably have to take a punt and leave Steve Smith out and get Ish Sodhi. Oh, look, this is a real problem for Rajasthan. Their spin department just hasn't delivered so far. I mean, they can be economical, but they're not picking up wickets in the middle. So much emphasis is on Jofra Archer that you need another match winner in there. And, look at those numbers. That's pretty impactful. So, for me, Ish Sodhi actually gets other people wickets. So it's partnership bowling, So he might not cash in himself, but someone else at the other end will do. So for me, when they were most successful on that run last year, Rajasthan Royals, Ish Sodhi and Josh Butler in the 11. So for me, find the recipe that works. That was one that worked, but unfortunately for this game, Steve Smith has to play.
It's always a tricky one. Yeah. I mean, agree with him.
It's just
always
Steve
a tricky
Smith
one
puzzle,
when it's an overseas spinner.
Correct.
To fit him in, sometimes if you don't have the right balance with your other 10, it just becomes a lot harder to fit an overseas spinner. Overseas seamer, it's a little bit easier to fit in. But with a spinner, unless he's a Rashid Khan, to straight away go for him and leave a batsman out, it is always going to be difficult, in spite of his good numbers.
Krishnappa Gautam, of course, gets the benefit of being an Indian spinner, but hasn't really done the job for them.
Yeah, it's not been great this season. I mean, I think apart from that 1-6 that he hit the other night, I don't think his the kind of faith or the expectation that Rajasthan have of him hasn't been able to deliver. I don't think he's bowled much with the new ball either in these 3 games. So, which used to be his role. Maybe going further in the tournament when the pitches do slow down even more, he might have a role, but at the moment he's not giving them as much as they expect of him.
Since we were talking about, and the point that Brad made was that issue with Rajasthan Royals in the middle over leaking a lot of runs. We're taking a look at the bowlers that have leaked a lot of runs in those middle overs, and you've got 2 Rajasthan bowlers featuring in that. I just spoke of Krishnappa Gautam. The other one is Jaydev Unadkat. He's not playing in this particular match, but you've got Gautam there. The only bright spot I'm guessing for Rajasthan here, Brad, is the fact that you got Shreyas Gopal there, and if Gautam does bowl, his off spin, we've seen Virat Kohli a bit tentative against the spinners to begin with. That could just fetch them a wicket.
Yeah, he's got him out, I think, once or twice. But look, I don't think Virat will make the same mistake too often. He's a fast learner, and I think that's something he'll be discussed, and I think he can easily pass it over to his partner. I mean, Parthi's a pretty good player, spin early. There's some good Hetimaya, wax spin, Moeen Ali. So there's plenty there to deal with that. I think Virat will just park that one and say it's over to you, and I'll take the rest of them on. But yeah, it's a bit of an issue for them. I mean, who's going to take the role of Unadkat? You know, I think Jinx's captaincy or looking after Unadkat has had the opportunity to bring him in a few times early in the game, hasn't done it. Very hard to finish games at the back end. So if you look at those figures, he's coming on around the 14th or 15th over, already under pressure. You know, sides are just starting to line you up, and unfortunately, it hasn't delivered.
I mean, I know it doesn't concern this game, but the kind of form he's in, I don't think Mohammad Shami's name is going to be there for too long.
Yes, he was outstanding in that game earlier. Also, I mean, since you were talking about Jinx captaincy, last time around, that turning track in Chennai was guilty of not using all the spinners to bowl their all quota of overs. So, still reposes faith in Unadkat.
Yeah, I mean, it was different conditions the other
And I
night.
guess
I think
fell
it was
down, which is why he's
no, there was a lot of dew though. I think the spinners didn't have as much of an impact as they would have otherwise in Chennai. There was a lot of dew. I mean, Rajasthan ideally should have chased those runs down in spite of having to chase 175. They were just they just messed up the chase. So no, I don't think that was a venue that you could really compare.
Okay.
That spin would have had an impact. Apart from Tahir, I don't think many spinners did have an impact.
So, is that a problem today? There's going to be dew as well today.
There's not a lot at Jaipur. It can be a little bit, but
Yeah.
nothing from what we saw in
And they
the
bowled
past.
first.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
So that was, I mean, Ajinkya Rahane mentioning at the toss that maybe dew is an issue. We'll take a look at the first poll that we threw to you, and let's take a look at what the viewers had to say. We asked you a question: should Stoinis be opening the batting? 68% believe yes. I wonder we had an extension on the poll, and we could have asked them who should he replace at the top of the order. Unfortunately, we don't have that at the moment, but we've got another poll for you. Do go on to our Facebook page and cast your vote. Who will win today? That's pretty easy for you to vote. So between Rajasthan and Bengaluru, I wonder why Rajasthan has that surprise emoji and Bengaluru is laughing. Okay, we're just looking ahead to that game. Where should Rahul Tripathi bat? That's the next question. We touched upon it briefly, Brad. I'll start with you. As I remember, you know, going back, opening was his thing. But you had a point to make that if you were to bring him to open, how do you balance the rest of the team out?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's probably going to bat at number 3. You know.
Would you bat him at 3?
Well, he probably will. But you know, I mean, for me, Rahul Tripathi needs to understand what his role is in the side. So. He's had a year to try and grasp this batting down the order, the way it rolls. So if he still can't get it, then maybe in the future Stuart Binney might be a better option down the order, you know, when Sanju comes back. If there's no place at the top, I mean, it's a difficult position to understand. So for me at the moment, I think their setup was okay with Rahane, Butler and Sampson. Right now, today, I think they need to mess around with that and go hard at the top and get Steve Smith in there today and then Stokes at 4.
We'll take a look at how Rahul Tripathi has done batting in different batting positions. In the IPL, my guess is opening is that's correct. 107 is his average. That's outstanding at a strike rate of 146. And then the average really drops, though he maintains the strike rate at number 4 and then way down to number 5 and 6. As Brad mentioned, Ajit, that he needs to understand his role. What we saw of him in the last game, of course, Rajasthan didn't cross the line, but did get those runs and probably was understanding. Also kept the run rate in check and was hitting a few out of the park too.
Yeah, but I mean, doesn't seem sort of naturally suited to play in that role. Hasn't seemed that way. I mean, obviously you can see the numbers when he opens, and he's obviously opened in a lot more innings. So, but the numbers are really good. So they might have to find a spot somewhere for him in that top. Could be a case today if they lose a wicket early for him to come up to number 3. Otherwise, maybe Smith might walk in. But yeah, you know, I mean, if he again, you've got to balance your team. If he's not going to do that job for you at number 5 or 6, where that's the position that they can find for him, then maybe Stuart Binney could be the ideal choice who can whack the ball later on in the innings. But yeah, in my opinion, I think he's best suited in the top 3. Whether they can find a spot for him is another question.
All right, we had a poll a short while ago. Should Marcus Stoinis open? And the results were out. Most believe that he should open. Well, the news right now is that he's not opening because you've got Virat Kohli and Parthiv Patel come out and bat for Bengaluru. Okay, a final bit on the show is the Fab 4 part, and we get both our cricket analysts here to pick the 4 players that they would be hoping do rather well in this game. We'll be keeping a tab on the points that they score and announce the winner at the end of the match. Okay, who do we start with? Should we start with Brad? Go ahead. pick your
Sure,
four?
yeah, I've been Ajit's killed me the last
Yeah.
couple. So look, I'm going to back Ben Stokes today. Actually,
Okay, Stokes. Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to back AB de Villiers for some runs after last game. I'll let you take Virat if you want, boss.
that's
Yeah,
really
I'll
nice.
try and pick 4 completely
And
different
I'll
players.
take
to-
Hetmeyer
Hetmeyer, okay.
and one more Rajasthan player there.
I think the rule is you have to pick 4 different.
I'll pick
Oh,
Yeah.
Jofra Archer.
No, I don't
Jofra
okay.
Archer. No, you
Okay.
don't, but it's
But
Just so that it's
that's the
it's
way
more
we're
fun that
rolling
way,
anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jofra Archer.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go Butler, Virat Kohli. Who we got? Forgetting players at the moment. Steve Smith.
Smith, okay.
And you picked Archer, haven't you?
Yeah.
There is the
number
11, just so that-
and Chahal.
Yuzvendra Chahal. Seems like an even Steven sort of a contest. Both the four players, both of you have picked Stokes, AB de Villiers, Hetmeyer, Jofra Archer. We've got Butler on one side, Kohli, Smith, and Yuzvendra Chahal. Okay, we'll have to wait and watch how that pans out. Brad Hodge, Ajit Agarkar, thanks so much for joining us. Live action has already begun. But before we leave you, we've got the poll result of the second question that we had asked you. Who will win today? 62% have gone with Bangalore, despite the fact that they're playing away from home in a ground that Rajasthan seemed to do rather well. But 38% believe that Rajasthan will win. If you got it right, we'll wait and watch for that. We'll see you in the mid-innings now. Thanks so much for watching.